Today, we will be talking about COVID-19 vaccines in the U.S. To start off, we thought it would be helpful to visualize where vaccines come into play by showing the epidemiological triangle for COVID-19. As we already know, the host, environment, and agent all interact with each other to produce disease. Vaccines exist as an intervention to protect the host from the agent. Vaccines decrease the number of COVID-19 cases and/or decrease the severity of infection by providing the host with antibodies against COVID-19.
On December 11, 2020, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued the first emergency use authorization for a vaccine for the prevention of COVID-19. The emergency use authorization allowed the Pfizer COVID vaccine to be distributed in the U.S. You also now have the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccine. These three vaccines are proven to help protect people from COVID-19 and its different strains. People that are vaccinated can still contract the virus and potentially spread it, but for us to move forward back to a normal life, herd immunity with the vaccine is what's recommended. The CDC has come out with the evidence of the vaccine efficacy rate and effectiveness towards the virus. A lot of people out there wonder how the COVID vaccine actually works. All viruses have a unique genetic code. Scientists apply a part of that code called mRNA to the vaccine to help build an immune response. That small part of the vaccine is not enough for you to fully contract the virus, but you may experience symptoms due to the fact that your body has never seen COVID before. The mRNA tells your cells to make the virus protein, and then your body produces the antibodies to destroy that protein. As a result, if you are later exposed to COVID to the virus, then your body will already have an immune system response with antibodies. The virus that causes COVID-19 replicates quickly. Without the vaccine, your body has to identify the virus, learn how to fight it, and carry out an immune system response. In the meantime, the virus can replicate to a level beyond what your immune system can actually handle, which means you feel really, really sick. The vaccine speeds up that process and starts up with an immune system response immediately. Side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine include fatigue, headache, fever, chills, muscle pain, and nausea. Side effects may be more intense after the second dose of the vaccine if you got a vaccine that requires 2 doses. Everyone is taking the vaccine differently, meaning that some people may show more symptoms than others. Side effects should go away after a few days, and it's common. After full vaccination, the CDC is saying that you can feel more confident hanging around other people and get used to doing things that you may have had to put on hold due to the pandemic. But that being said, taking the vaccine is just another safety measure, so it does not mean that you should not continue to wear your mask or social distance.
Vaccine effectiveness is the reduction in disease among vaccinated people. For example, the group who received both doses of the Pfizer vaccine will experience 95% fewer COVID-19 cases than they would have if they had not been vaccinated. Although those who received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine only required 1 dose to reach full effectiveness, those who received the Moderna or Pfizer vaccines required 2 doses. It is well known that vaccinations protect against disease, but research has not yet shown how long protection against COVID-19 lasts or how many people must be vaccinated to reach herd immunity in the United States.
As of April 19, 2021, about 50.4% of the total adult population has been vaccinated, and almost 32.5% of our population has been fully vaccinated, meaning they've received both doses of the vaccine and are a certain amount of time after their second dose. There are state-by-state vaccine disparities and Johnson & Johnson vaccine hesitancy. There's also been a slow vaccine rollout where appointments crashed, appointments were missing, and there was an inconsistent supply and also inconsistent information with who was eligible. So that has all led into who has access for it right now. So in regards to who has access to vaccines right now, Michigan has a vaccine rollout in regards to who gets the vaccine when. So right now it's open to all adults in the state of Michigan who would like to receive the vaccine. But there is some vaccine hesitancy, which we'll see in the later slides. Globally, who has access right now, it really depends on what the cost is for certain countries. If a patent will be placed on the vaccine, and high and low income or middle income countries having access to shipping or the proper ways to store the vaccine. In order to ethically distribute the COVID-19 vaccines, it should be global, meaning everyone should have access to it no matter the income of the country. It should help people with the greatest need first, and it should reduce health disparities. But questions we should be asking ourselves when thinking about this is who participated in the trials, who got the vaccine first or who has access to it first, who gets the information about the vaccine and how are people without access to technology or healthcare signing up to get the vaccine.
Another factor that needs to be considered when discussing vaccine distribution is vaccine hesitancy. Vaccine hesitancy can include, but isn't limited to, an overall distrust of vaccines, concerns about the vaccine timeline for production, the effectiveness of the vaccine, or concerns about side effects from the vaccine. And in the case of COVID-19, it could also be based on a lack of concern for the virus itself. Another topic to consider as we discuss COVID-19 vaccines is the frequency of COVID-19 cases in fully vaccinated individuals. As news reports are now talking about, there is this breakthrough rate of COVID-19 infections in fully vaccinated folks. The important thing to note here is that number is 0.008% and not a figure to be concerned about. In addition, hospitalizations and deaths that have been attributed to the contraction of the virus after vaccination, many of those can be attributed to factors other than COVID-19, so are not directly linked to COVID-19 after vaccination. As we began to discuss in the ethics of vaccine distribution, we're going to head into the social determinants of health when it comes to vaccine distribution. So we'd urge you guys to consider the questions that are on the slide as you think about this topic and to look towards the points that have been made. One, that marginalized groups are at a large disadvantage when accessing this vaccine. The information about the vaccine itself has an issue with how it's going to be accessed and where it's being distributed. So communities at risk might not be able to access that information as readily. And finally, despite financial barriers being lowered for the vaccine itself, the vaccine becoming free in the United States, many communities at risk in the United States still could not afford it, whether it's due to transportation for there and back, issues regarding sickness after the second dosage, and people can't take time off of work, etc., etc. But these are things that we need to consider as we move forward with this, and also as we look at global social determinants of health when it comes to affording this vaccine and vaccine distribution.
A small number of reports have surfaced of those who received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine developing a rare and severe type of blood clot. The problems with the vaccine were found up to 2 weeks after vaccination. Data has shown that those who developed blood clots were women between the ages of 18 and 48. Although 7.5 million people in the U.S. have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, vaccination with this vaccine has currently been paused, allowing scientists to research why blood clots were being reported.
Thank you so much for your time. Please feel free to leave any questions or comments in the discussion forum, and we can look those through. Thank you.